So we've kind of explored a little bit of what a reading might look like. Now, you may have noticed that we bumped into readings and doing readings without covering that old spread, the Celtic Cross. For those who don't know what the Celtic Cross is, it's a super popular spread. And I'm going to say something controversial, and that is that I do not like the Celtic Cross spread. When you notice, or if you notice when I do the reading or when I did the previous reading, things went a little bit more organically. So although I do have kind of systems in terms of spreads that I use, whether it be a 1-card reading or a 2-card reading or 3-card reading or the this or that, I don't really just fix on one. I tend to merge whatever spread I'm thinking of at the time. I'm very much led by the amount of cards I feel I need to put down, or, you know, what avenues the client wants to go down. So I'm not one of those ones that uses a very specific spread and just uses that whole spread for the reading. Now, if you are one of those people that you want to do that, that's fine. But what more often than not, what you'll get is you'll get people who, when they offer their services, they'll say, okay, I'm offering a 3-card reading today, or I'm offering a half an hour thing, and what they'll do is they'll put the Celtic Cross down, which is the spread I'm going to show you in a minute. Whether you decide to do that or not, there's only one thing that matters, and that is that you're giving accurate information. So before we go any further, I'm going to show you a complicated or somewhat complicated spread compared to the other ones that we've done that has fixed placements which you would need to memorize. Again, I'm not one that's up for memorizing things, so you know, it's one of those things. So the Celtic Cross is, I believe, possibly the most popular spread in the world, and is used a lot in films and TV and that sort of thing. So that's probably one of the reasons why it is so popular and so famous. But it does basically come under the kind of category of each card gets laid out in a specific order and then has specific things attached to it. Now you can download the template for what each card position represents, but I'll just go through a very basic one. So when we put them down, it will look something along the lines of, you would ask a question and then shuffle the deck, and then what you're going to do is you're going to have the first card or first position will be you, or what would represent you. Then what you'll have is you'll have the question, so what represents the question. Then what you'll have is you'll have what's behind the question, so to a certain extent why you're asking the question. Then we're going to swirl around in this motion. That's the motion that you use. Some people will go a different way. Personally, if you are doing this, I think the energy tends to go a little bit better that way, which I'll take you through that in a sec, but let's finish this off. So then we have the past, situation past. We have what is currently hanging over you, so to a certain extent the present. Then we have the near future, so something that's going to come along fairly soon. Then we have what the fear is behind the situation, so what you're scared of essentially. Other people or other things that may be affecting. Your hopes, dreams, and then the final outcome, so something that summarizes the final outcome. Now I haven't really asked a question here, I've just put the cards down, shuffled the cards and put them down, just to show you what the spread actually would look like. So we'll take this and we'll kind of go into it in a little bit more detail now. See if I arrange them in an order that's actually that you can see. There we go. So basically we're starting off with this card, which is you. So, you know, some people will put down a significator card, so something to signify you. So they might even go through, like I said about going through the deck on the exercise, turning it up, and then picking a card to represent the client, that sort of thing. Okay. Other people will just take the card like I did and stick it down. So the next card, which lies on top, which makes the kind of cross, as you can see, it's a cross or a Celtic cross. If you look at it from that direction and you Google Celtic cross, you'll find that with the line here and then the up and then the circle, it looks a lot like a Celtic cross, which is where the name comes from. So as we go along, we've got the question again, so the question that you asked, and then we're flowing in this direction as we're putting them down, going up. So it's literally like a swirl and that way. Now some people will go from here around to here and down, and up, which I don't like the fact that if you're drawing this on, if you're drawing it with a pen, say, you're going to be going that way, and then crossing yourself over and then going up, whereas I prefer that it should go from this way around. I feel that it flows better that way, or it makes sense to me that it flows better that way. Now the problem with this deck, or with this spread with beginners, is that it's essential that you remember or understand what each placement represents. So what you're doing is you're taking the card, so say the first one, the person, and you're reading that represents the person that's in front of you. The second card, the question that they're asking, or the question you're asking, if you're doing this for yourself. You're reading into that card to tell you the answer of that question. So whereas before in the previous video we kind of went into things a little bit more organically with just putting as many cards down as we really wanted to, or felt we needed to explore other avenues, there are popular positions for interesting facts or parts that you would want to shine a light on. So when it comes to just using single card reasons, just getting imagery out of a single card, then yes, this could potentially, if you're good at doing single card readings, give you an awful lot of information. And to be fair, if you've been practicing for a fair amount of time, then this might be a good one for you, because you'll be able to look at, if this is the you, this is the question, and then we've got the reason you're asking the question, the past, what hangs over you, or the what could be, depends on the sort of question you're asking, to be honest with you, and the future. If you looked at the past, then you could just do a past reading all in itself just by using that one card and looking deeper and deeper and deeper into it. Now what we are going to do in the next video is we're going to dispense with the spreads, and we're going to focus on a one card spread, so a one card reading, to get a lot of information. But at the moment, this is literally a case of when you say you're designing or picking a spread that marries up with the type of question that they're asking. If someone was saying, shall I pick this path or that path, then you might do the two paths and compare them. Yeah. Whereas if they're just asking, I'm set on my course, or what is to happen, this is a popular one because of course you've got a lot of information here. You can read into the person, you can read into the question that they're asking, you can read into why they're asking the question. You've got the past in the situation, you've got the future that's coming, normally is quite close by, so it's like a near future. You've even got the what could be, or what hangs over you, is what's traditionally thought of. Then you've got fear, that sort of thing, what's stopping you. You have other people, so other influences, whether they be people, or if you believe in spirits and that sort of thing, could be anything that influences you. You've got hopes, dreams, and then of course this is the last card you put down, that's supposed to symbolize the overall picture. Okay, so in terms of zooming in, rather than you adding more and more cards to zoom into, what you're doing is you're putting all those cards on the table first, and then you're just zooming in on a situation, and then overall this should show a kind of timeline or a progression of what's going on at the heart of the issue. Now again, what the problem with this is that I don't find that it's a particularly easy thing to master for the very beginner. Now it is popular because it does work, but when you compare it, if we ignore these cards and we compare that system to someone asking the question and then you organically expanding, so we're asking a question of, my husband's keeping something from me, have you got any insight to that? Which basically they're saying, you know, what do you want? Which to me it shows a person that's blind and not really understanding what's going on. They've got two overcrossed arms with a sword, so they're like, I don't know whether to be happy, I don't know whether to be sad, I don't know if it's my fault. It's the card of not knowing. So then you basically be choosing that as a, okay, that kind of represents what I'm saying. And then you might decide to put one card down or two cards down, or to marry several cards together. Whereas obviously with the Celtic crossbred I showed you just now, you don't need to keep adding cards. That's it. When you've done the cards, when you've put them out, you probably don't touch anymore. You just read into the spread as it were. But obviously because of the way that we often think organically, and because of the kind of techniques that we're using, which is an organic, do I need an extra card? Am I struggling here? If you've just got one card representing the future in the Celtic cross, then that may be difficult for you to read into without doing just single card readings. Because essentially this over here is a bunch of single card readings to a certain extent, which all tie in together. And that's why a lot of people struggle with it for the beginning. So at the moment, what I want you to do is not necessarily pick a spread because that spread's associated with a type of question. I want you to think in terms of picking a card first, like I picked here, to represent the question. We're just picking a card, shuffling and picking a card. See what feeling you get from that. Do you get the fact that, oh well, I can read, I'm getting loads of information from this is coming, and I've seen so much from just the one card, so I don't feel I need to add another one? Or is it a case of, okay, I'm only getting this in regards to, yes, okay, this shows the woman, she's confused, she's blindfolded, she doesn't know what's going on, which direction to turn, what the heck's going on. So I need to pick some more cards. If you do need to pick more, then pick more. If you pick two, or if you pick one, extra one, and you can't get much of a read off of that, then pick another one as well and merge the two together. You see? Organically. So it's telling a story. So again, Celtic crossbred, I've showed you it, and it's a beginner. It's not the most friendly for beginners because it revolves around a lot of memorization. Now, in terms of answering the question the client wanted, was the husband hiding from me? Obviously there we could put, you know, with the several positions, we could go into loads and loads and loads of detail. In fact, what I'll do is I compare the organic method to doing it, which is the method that you're kind of starting off naturally probably doing, is just putting cards down as and when you get stuck. It's this kind of a method. And then we'll do the same question there. So in terms of what the husband is cheating, we've got a class clown that's playing up in front of people, okay, and then we've got someone that is very unamused with that. So what I'm getting with comparing these, when I remember we did the exercise of which cards are similar, which one's the odd one out, are there groupings or similarities between the cards we put down? These two look like, I don't know, I get they're both single people, and I get the fact that they're both sitting down, they've both got swords, they're both in a position of, to a certain extent, staying still, stagnation, sitting on a throne, blah de blah de blah. So I'm tying these two cards together. What I really see, although this says king, what I'm actually feeling is a feminine presence from this card. If it didn't say king, I would think that it was a woman. In fact, I would think that that was that woman, just with in her best clothes, or, you know, I think that that woman is that person in the future. So what I'm getting from this is the woman that is the client that's sat in front of me over there somewhere. She is saying that she wants to know what's going on with her husband because he's not entirely sure. The impression I'm getting is that he's a bit of a class clown playing up in front of other people that kind of snigger and to a certain extent dare him to do things, stupid things for their own amusement, and he doesn't really realise he's an idiot and that they don't respect him. But just the fact that, you know, they're just daring him to do stupid things. And he does it, and he thinks he's getting a street credit from that. But in actuality, they're just laughing at him. And she's unamused. She sits back, looking from afar, thinking, oh, this is ridiculous. So that's what I'm kind of getting from that. And am I stopping at that point? I'm talking to the client and saying, you know, is this the situation? Is that what you're saying here? Does this make sense? Is he a bit of a class clown? Does he act up in front of other people? What do you feel about that? In which case she might say yes, or she might say no, or it might be a case of she might be quite embarrassed. In which case we're organically going based on the input that she's giving, or based on where we feel pulled to go to. So when it comes to, you know, what's up with our husband, we've got a personality coming through for the husband and a potential problem between the relationship, that he's a bit of an idiot and she's not amused. So in terms of the tension in the relationship, she's saying what's up with her husband. We're getting some sort of personality. Now think in terms of psychology and why he is behaving like that. Well, generally the class clown seeks acknowledgement from other people. So if we're looking at him playing up to get be friends with those people or to make them think that he's cool or whatever sort of thing, that comes from a place of lacking. That comes from a you know, a place which is not someone that's comfortable in their own skin. So he's going to have a lot of issues deep down, which he tries to masquerade and hide. Anyway, we're going on and on and on here. I'm actually slipping into to reading into this. You see how you kind of get sucked into the cards. So when you compare that, and then you would ask further and further questions, obviously going back to the client and saying, does this make sense? You know, blah, de blah, de blah. And then what we do is we could say, right, okay, so we know that he's got some issues, and we know that that's how he copes, and we know that you don't like that's how he copes. So what we could say is we could say, should we go into why he has these issues? Or should we go into what he can do about them, or what sort of thing? So that's going to flavour our reading as to where we're going next. You know, so it's a case of, okay, so what happened? What is wrong with this person? So we say, why is he the way he is? Why is he doing that? Or we could say, if we didn't want to ask the client, we could say, okay, is this the problem? Or what is the problem here? Is it the personality? Is the fact that I'm picking up on him being an idiot? Is that the problem? So I could just shuffle my cards, or I could just pick up the same one as what was there in terms of what's coming up here. So for here I'm getting a person talking to a fish. Okay, so this is a fish is in the cup. All I'm seeing communication. But what I'm seeing is, if a person in real life talks to a fish, are they going to get much input? Well, probably not. So that can mean two things to me. There's two things that are coming off at once from this. It's a person that's talking to someone and getting nothing back. Is she talking to him and getting absolutely nothing back from him? Is she saying, why are you behaving like an idiot? And he's just like, oh, I'm just having a laugh, I'm just having fun. Or is it a case of the fact that it's like talking to a brick wall, or talking to yourself is therapeutic? Is he one of those people that doesn't have anyone to talk to? And so he's talking to a fish because there's no one else. Or perhaps he's scared to show his emotions. So I'm getting a lot from that. You know, what is this card? Is this card representing the fact that he doesn't feel comfortable talking about the deep things going on in his life or from the past that makes him the person that he is? Is he one of those people that's an idiot and he's talking to a fish? Is he one of those people which is trying to share with her and just getting nothing back. What is going on here? So you want to clarify it. What is the situation here? I've got a lot of information from this card. It's not quite making sense. So how am I going to do that using the techniques that we've looked? Well, do I want to... We've taken information from that. So with this card, do I want to take a step back and then reanalyze it like we did with the techniques, where we were flipping the card saying what's the meaning, putting it over, what's the new meaning, that sort of thing? Are we going to re-examine this and see what insight that we can glean from how these cards now interact with each other, as opposed to reading that and then getting to this? So what we do is put that with this. So as you can see, what I'm kind of doing is I'm reordering my cards. Instead of shuffling a new, or pulling a new card, I'm reshuffling it to change the spread or to change the layout. And in my mind, I'm zooming in and picking up on these things. Instead of we got from here to here and now we're here, what I'm doing is we got from here to here to here, and now we're here. So this is kind of like the first, second, third, and fourth mini reading or mini question we're answering. So in terms of what I'm picking up from there, in terms of this card originally when it was down here didn't make a lot of sense, we got a little bit of information here. When I'm putting these together, what story does this now weave with these? I don't know if you say anything, but it's a case of her over here, him over there, and essentially skirting around the issue. So whereas before what I'm seeing is I'm seeing this as her and her looking at him, what now I'm seeing is I'm seeing that this card feels like it represents him, the husband. This card feels like it represents her, and this card seems to represent their relationship. And it's really a relationship where there's ignoring. You know, there's fake communication going on. There's no real tangible talking about their feelings. It's literally a case of, you know, a little bit of, oh honey, what we gonna have for tea tonight? What do you want? Sort of thing. Oh, what's on anything on television tonight? What did you do at work today? That sort of thing. There's no real substance to it. There's no real in-depth conversation going on between these characters. Now you could say that there's in-depth conversation going on between those characters, but what I'm actually seeing is I'm seeing this card as the middle point. So if we ignore that, I'm seeing her side, his side, and how they blend together. So I'm seeing him being represented by this half of the card. I'm seeing her being represented by that half of the card. Okay? Now the next thing, because what will happen is you'll zoom in on details in the card as you're talking and as you're clarifying with the client. So from what I've just noticed, this card looks like he's got something in his hand. Now I don't entirely know what it is, but to me that looks like a goblet. So to me it kind of looks like a chalice or a cup that is just like that. For me that shows very much a case of strop. I'm gonna take my chalice or my goblet, throw the water and storm off in a huff. Okay, so for me that seems to confirm the fact that, okay, to a certain extent in the relationship she is the person that's saying, honey, we kind of need to talk, and she is, you know, being somewhat calm about it, but he's reacting in such a way that it's a case of, okay, no, I can't deal with this. So the approach she's taking, which is the approach I think a lot of people would take, would be to sit someone down and say, I get that you don't seem yourself, or we really need to talk about this. That's not the approach that you should take with communication with everyone. You know, some people respond better to that, and it is the logical approach to take to sit someone down and say, look, I think that something's up, what's up? You know, think of the amount of times if you've ever heard one partner say to the other, is everything all right? And they say, yeah. And you're like, well, obviously no, it's not right. But the approach you take in terms of putting it blank out there, is everything right, was not the approach to take. We have a breakdown of communication. Okay, that is what this card is now representing, the breakdown of communication between them. So what are we going to delve into now? What does the client want to delve into? We have two avenues. We have the avenue of why is he this way? And then we've also got the avenue of the client might want to say, well, how do I fix the relationship? How do I talk to him? And obviously we now need to delve into that. So how are we going to delve into that? Are we going to delve into both? Or are we going to just delve into one? If we don't have that amount of time in this consultation, if we've only got 10 minutes left or something, she's going to have to pick one. Or if we do have a lot of time, what we could do is we've got two avenues. So remember we had the two avenues? Well, let's pick a card to symbolize each avenue. So we've got the past in terms of, if I say the two avenues would be, put that back, the two avenues would be why is he this way, and the how do I talk to him. We could take a why is he this way and the how should I talk to him. And then we could read into that. Now, is there an impression coming away from these cards? Well, in terms of this, I'm seeing a lot of topsy-turvy craziness going on here. Okay. From here, all I'm seeing is this person walking away. So does that symbolize the fact that, okay, at this point you need to walk away? Not walk away in terms of leave the relationship, but walk away as in, okay, look, he's going through something and you just need to be okay. You just need to give him some space. Just ignore it. Okay, might act out occasionally, but at the moment you need to ignore it. Now, from this impression that I personally get, that's what I'd say. I'm saying there's some crazy, topsy-turvy mental things that went on in the past here, which is making him the way he is. And that I'm saying the best thing here is for you to give it some time. So because we're going to give it some time, or because the advice I'm giving is that you need to give him some time, for the rest of the session, what might be more useful is to go down this avenue and to say, okay, why is he this way? Let's elaborate on this. And then continue the reading going down this avenue. Because we've answered her question of what do I do? How do I get through to him? And the cards seem to tell me that it's not the time yet. Now, the reason someone asks, there are several reasons why someone asks what's wrong with you. One is that they genuinely want to help you. If there's someone that you care about or you love, you want to know, you want to help them. Another thing is nosiness, of course. And another thing is just safety. It's one of those, it's probably evolutional psychology. You want to know what's going on in your surroundings. Why is that person acting that way? I need to be able to predict their actions. This is strange behavior. Strange behavior is scary. What's going on? So in terms of you saying, okay, that's fine. It's very apparent to me from this card that's come up. I feel as though you need to just give him some time on his own and you not need to push him. But I know that you're going to want to know what's going on now with his past or what's going on with his thing. I think that we can delve into that if you want. But the information I'm giving you now that we are delving into, you need to make sure you're not going to push it and throw it into his face. We are going to get some insight into this man's psychology, his history, all that sort of thing, what makes him tick. And it's important that what you don't do, that you actually walk away and keep this information and cherish it. And that, instead of when it comes to the next fight, you saying, oh, well, I know such and such from your past, and him having a breakdown or something, or you saying, well, the psychic told me that blah, 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 because that wouldn't be very nice. Now, at this point, I know that when it comes to being a good psychic and a good giving a good reading, what you need to remember is that the questions the client asks you aren't necessarily going to be good for them. You are going to have to give bad answers when you see bad answers or things they won't want to hear. Also, you need to think about, you have a lot of power here. You have the power to reveal these secrets. You have the power to reveal his secrets. Now, what are you going to do with that? I've seen people that get so involved with, they love it. The psychic messages are coming through and through and through, and they're just like, blah, 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 blah. And then the client goes away and misuses that information. So you have to ask yourself at this point, do I reveal this? Should I? Morally? How do I feel about that ethically? Because you could say all of his secrets and then you could wander off and then you could think, oh crap, I really shouldn't have done that. That poor man. So, in terms of ethics and stuff like that, the most simplest thing you could do is why not pull a card? So, if I'm going to say, should I reveal this information or should I not? What impression will I get when I pull a card? You could do this discreetly. Now this could be a yes or no, so you might just get a strong yes or no, or it might read into the situation. Now I see the Hierophant, which is a kind of pope figure. What that shows me is someone that think they're all high and mighty, and those sorts of people sometimes use their power for good, sometimes use their power for bad. I see two people begging at the bottom, and I see a not particularly happy face on this person. So for me, this shows me, or makes me think, that me sharing the information, the lady in question, the person, she's going to use it against him. She might not purposefully do it, but they do say absolute power corrupts. In the case of this person, I think it's definitely corrupted them. That's the impression I get. So, I'm going to say that if I reveal the information, she's going to use it against him, either purposefully, or it's just going to slip out when they're having an argument. So, what do we do? Do we carry on? You're kind of seeing now we've got a moral dilemma. So, I'm not going to reveal the information. This isn't a real reading anyway. This was just set to illustrate the flow of how we got to a reading, and we got to a point whereby, you know, we don't need to continue with the reading at this point, because this is an example. Obviously, if it was a real reading, personally, I'd tell her the information, because I don't believe in censorship. She's asked me, I'm going to give her a true and honest answer to it. So, the poor man, oh well, not my job. We don't get into morality so much on here, so I'm not going to tell you what to do or what not to do. So we have our spread here. So if you looked at the Celtic cross method of asking the same question, which is, of course, we use this, and imagine we pulled that one for the Celtic cross as our first card. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put all of these back into the deck and I'll ask the question. So remember, the question was something along the lines of, is my husband's behaving strangely? What's wrong with him? What's going on? What's going on with that? She's got a husband that's acting strangely. Seems to be testing the relationship. Okay, so I put these in. When I take cards, I normally would just put them back in and then shuffle, but I don't know, for some reason at the moment, every time I do this, whenever I've got cards, I want to slot them in random places. So Celtic crosswise, so we've got, in terms of the positions, and we're asking our question about the husband, or she's asked it. So, we're going to get the first card, which represents, oh funnily enough, it was the same as last time, you or her. So this is her in the situation, possibly calling for help. Okay, then we've got the question, which is here. What is the question? Okay, now what you can do with a spread like this, because there's a lot of cards going on and a lot of things are going on in the spread, are you going to lay all the cards down first, upright? Are you going to lay them down face down? Or are you just going to do position after position after position? So it's up to you. So do I just go down like this and carry on putting them down? Or do I put them up, face up, all the way up? Or do I literally just take it one at a time and read into the situation one at a time? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try a different method here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put these cards down, face down like this. Like this. Partly so that you don't get distracted, partly so that we can focus in on one. So obviously we got to the situation where we were pulling this one. Okay, so back here we've got the person This is the lady that's come. We've got the question, which was she was asking about her, you know, her husband, something's going on with it. And then we've got these other cards. So going back over the positions, I'm going to take it slowly. So if this is the question, what might read into this question? Well, for me, the character I'm drawn to most is this character. And to a secondary extent or a lesser extent, this character here. But the two on the floor that are essentially begging. So I see something that hasn't got a lot of power, or someone that doesn't have a lot of power, but that is waiting. They're waiting patiently for a handout. They're waiting for help. They just don't really, they're at an impasse. They struggle to do that. They struggle to get the help. They don't know what to do. They can't just let themselves, they can't just ask for it. They're waiting, okay? So in terms of the basis for the question, so what is the basis for what the woman has asked? So why is she asking the question? Well, here, this card, I'm seeing enlightenment. That's all that just comes to me, some sort of enlightenment. Now, I get this from the card, and traditional meanings of this card are things like the journey, blah, de, blah, de, blah, in occult circles and stuff like that, because I've done a lot of occultism. This is one of those things whereby this will be seen as your first step to enlightenment is card number 0. So if you're using it, like I said, the tarot deck or the Rider Waite deck, in terms of mysteries and stuff like that, this is the start of the journey, the seeking out of true information. So for me, I'm just feeling enlightenment. So really, to me, this card says that she just wants the answer to the question. She wants to know what is going on with him, okay? So that is what she seeks. What she's asking for, or what she's asked me to tell her, is literally the right question. So she isn't pretending and alluding to another question that she really wants to ask. Remember, going back, we talked a little bit about clients lying and clients not necessarily telling you the question or asking the question they actually want to know. Well, in this instance, this card, when it comes up, the basis for your question or what's behind the question, this confirms that actually she has true intentions. So this is the next one, which is the past. So maybe something recent, something like that. What I see here is some sort of battle. So this person is wielding a sword. So for me, what that says is arguments and stuff like that. Now, he isn't the aggressive looking kind of person. He looks somewhat flamboyant and kind of, I'd say, a bit, what's the politically correct term? I want to say a cuck, but I don't really want to say that. He's not a particularly aggressive person, but at the same time he's wielding the sword here. So for me, this says that this is someone that is argumentative, but they're not very good at winning arguments. They're the sort that just storms off. Okay, so I'm seeing a recent argument where he's kind of stormed off, but there is an argument there. So what's hanging over the situation? Okay, so what is impacting the situation? For here, this man, this person, is turning this coin, okay? So what they're kind of doing is this kind of emotion. They're turning a coin. I don't really know if I've got the old pestle and mortar handy. So for me, what this is kind of like this, and a turning, okay? Which to me, when in terms of turning, I'm thinking, what direction? What direction is it turning? I don't know which direction that person's actually turning. So for me, that says that they don't know where to go. This man, the husband, doesn't know which direction to turn. Are we turning this way, or are we turning this way? Which direction have we turned? I can't get a clear indication from this card. All I get is a turning of directions. So I'm thinking that he is balancing and not really knowing where to turn. So the situation with him is that our argument and the problems with this person, this woman's husband, he feels kind of out of control. He doesn't really know where to turn to. And that this is showing that this is, at the end of the day, this is what the main theme is, the hanging over. So let's see the future here. What is going to be, what is going to happen in the future? Well, in the future, in the near future, we see a certain level of happiness. She's off doing her own thing. So what I see in the future is the fact that she's going to go off and do her own thing. Now I'm saying and implying this to the person that asked the question, so the client who would be sat there in front of you, not so much to him. I feel that this has got a female nature. There's a female nature or presence in this card. When I turned it over, it felt female. So I'm applying this to the woman. And she's kind of she's fairly tranquil. You know, she's talking to the bird and that. So, you know, she's kind of just not even necessarily the bird's not talking back. There's not really communication, but she's at peace with the bird sitting on her arm. So for me, this is quite a positive card. It is showing the fact that she is just being open and letting the bird do its own thing. And he happens to be staying close to her because he's decided. The bird, I think, represents him. So if she lets out her hand and just be calm and patient in the future, then he will stay there and the relationship should be okay. Now, what are we fearing in this situation? What do we fear in this situation? So this card down here, the placement here, is kind of the fear in the situation. And for me, what this says is this is two people that are looking up with a rainbow, but the impression I get is almost like a goodbye. It's like a goodbye, goodbye, thanks for coming, goodbye. Like when people say, if you go to the theatre or something like that, and then they all say their kind of last goodbye or thanks and take a bow. This is kind of the taking bow. This seems to me to be leaving to one. It doesn't look like a bad card, but to me it says leaving. So I'm wondering whether if in the future the worst thing that she's scared of happening is that he leaves her or she has to leave them or they split up. That's what's coming through to me. So what are the people or the effects around? So this could be people affecting the situation, thoughts in terms of external forces that are coming in would be this card. So what impression do I get? What impression I get is that this person is stuck in a box. So the people this card represents in this position represents people here outside of the situation. They're looking at it and they've got a very polarized view. They're sat in their box away from the situation with a face on their, with a look on their face saying, oh, just, you know what needs to be done, just do it, just do it. I don't want to hear about this. You're repeating yourself over and over and over again. Stop it, you know. So I'm thinking that if she's had advice, the lady has had advice from other people or other influences, whether it be her friends or family or whatever, they're kind of saying, I don't want to hear about this anymore. This is all, you know that you just need to leave him or something like that. They're very stern and very solid in their ground and they're stuck in their tiny little box and saying, this is what you need to do. Get rid of it. I'm done. I'm sick and tired of listening to this now. So the external influences, I think, on this situation is that the lady's being told when she's spoken about this and spoken about her husband and, you know, that sort of thing, and the feelings towards him or, you know, what he could be thinking, they're basically very polarized and they aren't interested whatsoever. And whenever they do say something, they're repeating themselves and it's not something positive, it's negative. So they probably will say something along the lines of, oh, just get rid of him. I'm tired of this. Every time you bring him up, just get rid of him. Okay, so moving on to the next position, which is the hopes and dreams for the person. So this is called the King of Wands. All I'm seeing now is a stable environment. The king is sat on his throne, everything's good. There's nothing bad going on. It's literally just they want some stability and comfort. So I believe that the person that's asking the question, the client, this lady here, what she wants to go back to is times where she knows what's going on. The safe times, the comfortable times, okay? That's what she wants at the end of the day. That's what she dreams of and she hopes of. That's the best case scenario. Now this last card at the top here is the overall final outcome. So what will happen to this couple overall? You know, we've talked about the future, but that future hasn't taken place yet necessarily. So just because it's showing the fact that there's communication and she's letting him be okay, you know, and giving him some space and that, That is the near future. Does that last forever? What is the ultimate outcome? Is this card? Should we turn it over and have a look? I know you want to. There we go. So what I'm seeing here is ultimately what you have is you have one person here, one person there, and then there's a gift. Okay. So in terms of what I'm picking up on that, I don't know what impressions you get from this card, but I'm seeing instantly what I feel is a gift. I feel a gift. I feel, you know, the sort of gift that a spouse would give their, you know, their other half, whether it be flowers or a box of chocolates or something like that. It's a case of a little silly little gift, the sort of Valentine's Day present, that sort of thing. Do I feel that overall the situation is fixed? No. What I see is these little gifts, you see, if you imagine each one's a gift, stacking up. So what I really see overall is that the situation is not being addressed and won't be addressed. What I'm seeing is there's distractions. Every time they have an argument, he comes back and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, honey, I'm sorry that I acted like a prat. Here you go, I bought some flowers." And she's kind of like, "Oh, well, you know, he's not so bad, he's quite nice." But all these little gifts are stacking up. You could look at these gifts as a nice thing. You can say, "Oh, he's really nice to her." But then at the same time, you could think every one of these is a get out of jail free card. Every one of these is the person looking, him, making a mistake and trying to cover for it and buying her off with a box of chocolates or some sweets. So overall, I'm seeing that the situation isn't going to resolve itself. So with this whole Celtic crossbred, we've slipped into, almost by the positions, working through methodically what's going on. So at this point, when we've come to the end of our reading, depending on how much time we've got left, we could go back and we can delve in deeper, just remembering what the positions. So if she's asking a question of the, "Oh, but this one here, why is this the case?" Then what are you going to do? Are you going to go back to a position? Or are you going to try and change the outcome of the situation? Now, when it comes to psychic readings and stuff like that, you'll get psychics who decide, "We're not going to change it, I'm just giving you the information and that's it." And then you'll get people like the witches and that sort of thing, or root workers who do this, happens quite a lot in, where they'll say, "Okay, you want a situation, we'll make it happen." In which case, that's when other things start coming in. Magic. How are we going to change the situation? How are we going to get this lady what she wants? We've told her what's going to happen. She doesn't like it, or she does like it. How is she going to change it? Are we leaving it to her to change it, or are we going to help her change it? Very interesting one, because it depends on where you fall on the getting involved with your clients, or what extra services you're going to offer. So we'll leave this at this point, because this is the Celtic cross. So that's probably the last time that we'll do the Celtic cross at this point. So give a Celtic cross a go and start learning a couple of the positions. Now, on the thothwitchcraft.com blog, there's a Learn Tarot blog, and this shows the Celtic cross. What I've done is I've put the old-fashioned way of doing it. I didn't put the way that I like. And what happens with the energy flow is it goes from positions like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. It's kind of dots. I think it's really easy to remember if you just think you start off in the middle and spiral round, instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all that sort of thing. It doesn't make much sense. Just remember the spiral and you'll get the positions right. And then obviously it's just a case of learning what positions there are. You know, whether you want to memorize that. So you have the same question the clients asked and two different approaches that we've taken. This one involves memorizing positions. The last one was more organic. Some left-brainy kind of people that like methodical approaches to things would like this method more, because they know the positions, or what the positions are going to mean. Other people that are maybe a bit more kind of right-brain, a bit more creative, might prefer the easy flow of just feeling what they should do. No approach is right or wrong, it's just your preference and whether you can actually give the reading. So, if you've given this a go, try giving both methods a go, and then move on to the next video.